Hey, this is a brief introduction to the future of RPG keys, specifically the RPG LR application. For a long time, for the last year, basically DWF members and other users of the RPG key have been asking for more control of each key. Until this point, for example, when you pressed the exposure key on your RPG key, there was a fixed increment and the end user had no control over the power of that particular exposure button. I'm going to walk you through some of the advancements in this new user interface for the RPG key. Okay, so when you open up the RPG application, the Preferences tab looks like what you're seeing here, and the names that you're going to see are names that, if you know Lightroom, are going to be familiar to you. So we've got a Library tab, a Develop tab, a Global Preset tab, and a Local Preset tab. We'll start with the Library tab. So what you're going to do is, as a user, you're going to decide when you press the temperature key, do you want it to activate the small increase button or the large increase button? So you're going to go through this and you're going to make decisions on your workflow that when you're in the library mode, how small or how large of a change would you like? Okay, so that as you're editing in Lightroom, each key on the keyboard will be basically activating the buttons that you see here, which are connected to the buttons that you see in the library mode of Lightroom in the Quick Develop settings. So again, this is just mimicking the user interface of the library mode image editing tools in Lightroom. If we move to the next tab, the Develop tab, you'll see that this is numbers. And if you look at the Develop mode sliders, you'll see, of course, that we've got the sliders, but you can also put numbers in. These are actually multiples. So the smallest increment, for example, for exposure, if you just try to move the slider in Lightroom the smallest amount possible, it's it's like 1 or 1/100th of a stop. So what you're going to do here is you're going to say, okay, well, when I hit the exposure key on the RPG key in the Develop mode, I want it to be 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, up to 20 times the minimum increment on the Lightroom slider. So for me, I like 1/3 of a stop, so that's going to be there. You can go all the way up to 20, so you can go up to half a stop. But basically, this gives the end user or the owner of the RPG key the ability to say, okay, when I'm in the Develop mode, I want to work with finer level of detail using my RPG key, as opposed to having the fixed 1/3 of a stop, as was the case in the past edition. So here we go, moving on. One thing I failed to mention in the last 2 sections is that this entire user interface is constantly able to be tweaked by the owner of the RPG key. So you can go in here and you can make changes to these different settings and see how they work in your workflow. If you decide that you've made a poor choice, you can come back and you can modify it just by reopening it. All the original values are saved, and you can just hit save, and your RPG key will effectively be updated. Moving on to the next tab, the Global Presets tab. Previously in the RPG application, you had to rename your presets with a number in front of them. So if you had a preset called black and white, if you wanted the number 1 key on the RPG key to activate it, you had to name it 01 underscore and then the preset name. Now we have, with this modification, or I should say this upgrade, now you're just going to put those names right in here. So you're going to say black and white, and then you're going to go down here and you're going to say sepia, and you're going to basically write in the exact name of your favorite presets on the RPG key. You've got a total of, I think it's 24 presets at the moment. So 3 per key, and there's 8 sets of keys for presets. Again, these are library mode specific global presets. And if you're in the Develop mode and you hit one of those keys on the RPG key, it's going to take you to the library mode, and it's going to grab that preset for you. Now you just don't have to rename them in Lightroom. You can do it here in the RPG basically preferences settings user interface. Okay, so the last tab on the RPG key is really exciting news for us. I don't think we've shared this feature with anybody yet, and so DWF, you're it. You're getting the fresh news from RPG key. In Lightroom 2.0 and beyond, there is the ability to create presets for what I call local presets, or presets for your local adjustments tool and your gradient tool. Unfortunately, Adobe neglected to allow the user of Lightroom to record their brush settings with a preset. So imagine that you've gone in and you've set all the sliders in the local retouching panel to the way you like for skin softening. There's no ability to record the size of the brush, the feather of the brush, the flow of the brush, or the density of the brush when you record that preset. And so we here at RPG have basically created new functionality to Lightroom that we wish they had have included. And again, this is just for our studio workflow. This is something that we wish we had the ability to do when we're using Lightroom, and so we basically found a way around it. And we're offering it to all of the current and future owners of the RPG key. So here we are. We're in the local presets tab. It's 3 presets per button, so we have 4 buttons, so it's for a total of 12 local adjustment presets. So the first thing I'm going to do on this particular one is I'm going to enable it. So I'm going to say, I don't know, skin softening 2x, just because it's a really strong skin softening. Now I need to tell the preferences panel if this is a preset that I'm going to use with my gradient tool, or if it's a preset I'm going to use with my adjustment brush. You'll see that these are grayed out right here, but if I click on the adjustment brush, I can now set my brush size. Okay, and the RPG key is going to remember this, and it's going to populate these numbers for you when you activate your preset number 1, which is now going to be called Skin Soft 2x. We'll go to the next one just to give you an example, and we'll call this bright, I don't know, bright sky. Okay, and this is of course going to be a preset that we use for brightening the sky of a landscape photo, or of a photo that has a very defined horizon where we perhaps got a dark skyline. And I'm going to select gradient. So now, anytime I press the key to enable preset number 2, local preset number 2, it's going to open up my gradient panel for me. Whereas if I were to press the button for local preset number 1, it's going to open up my adjustment brush, local adjustment brush panel, and it's going to populate the brush settings in the desired location. This is we think, an unbelievable idea, and it came to us from one of our users, and we do appreciate that. So this is a basic introduction to the future of the RPG key. The PC version of this upgrade is going to be available sooner than the Mac. The Mac version will be following along. For our current owners who are interested in taking part in the alpha testing, the beta testing of this upgrade for PC, please drop us an email, and you can do the same for the Mac, and we'll put you on a list so that you can be part of that program, and of course giving us your feedback as we develop both the Mac and PC sides of this exciting upgrade. So I'm Tim Riley. I hope you don't hate the sound of my voice, because God knows I do. But this is what's new at RPG Keys, and we are really excited. Take care.